Welcome students. Uh, in the previous class we understood about the difference between restrictive clauses and non-restrictive clauses. We understood how these clauses can be used as adjective clauses and relative clauses. Or we can say both the clauses also work as adjective clauses or the relative clauses. Today we are going to understand the difference between that and which, because most of the time a confusion is created in our mind how to use them correctly, and these are the use of these two words, that and which, in some way is also related to our previous topic, restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. So how that and which are used with non-restrictive and restrictive clauses we will understand here, and through this discussion we will also be able to know how to use that and which correctly. So let's understand. For using that and which correctly, we must follow the rules of American English. If we want to use them in a proper way, we must follow American English, because in American English it is very clear that that will be used in the restrictive clauses and which in the non-restrictive clauses. While in British English, there is no clear-cut use between these, or we can say that and which both are used in restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. So it would be better that we use American English and we follow the rules. Okay, so let's see. The major difference is that will be used in restrictive clauses and which in non-restrictive clauses. So let's see. That is used only in restrictive clauses, or we can say in essential clauses, while which is used in non-essential clauses. Let's see the example. The lamp which was given to me by Ram, which was given to me by Ram is on the bedside table. So here it is non-restrictive clause which was given to me by Ram. See another example. The lamp that Ram gave me is on the bedside table. So here you can see that Ram gave me, this is the restrictive clause. If sometimes more confusion comes and you are unable to understand when to use that and when to we use which. So don't use them at all. You can also write the sentence without using them at all and still giving the same meaning. Okay. So let's see here before we proceed further how without using that and which we can also write the sentence if some confusion comes in our mind. Otherwise, if we have understood this rule that which will be used in non-restrictive clauses and in the restrictive clauses we will use that, or we can say that will not be preceded by any comma, or we can say the part uh, that is separated by commas is removable part and which is called non-restrictive, and which is always preceded by a comma, but that is not preceded by a comma. So let's see when we remove that and which from the sentence and without using them, how can we write the sentence? So let's see. There is a basic rule that whenever you are using that and which should be used in the non-restrictive clauses and that in restrictive clauses. Or in other words, we can say that will not be preceded by any comma, which is preceded by the comma, but that is not preceded by any comma. That is the basic difference. So let's see if there is more confusion in our mind. So we should not use any of these two words. We can write the previous example without using the comma and without using that or which. The lamp Ram gave me is on the bedside table. Here you can see the same example which we discussed a while ago using that and which. Here we are not using that or which, but still the sentence is giving us the same meaning. Okay. Let's see some more examples when of that and which, and we will understand how that is used in restrictive clauses and which is used in non-restrictive clauses, and if we mismatch these then the sentence would go wrong. Example: would you lend me the book? Would you lend me the book that you recommended last week? You recommended last week. Okay. So this sentence would be incorrect. Why incorrect? Why this sentence is incorrect? Because we are using a comma before that, and that is never preceded by a comma. That is never preceded by a comma. This is the rule. So its correct will be: would you lend me the book that you recommended last week? This is the correct one. Why correct? Because we have removed comma before that. That should not be preceded by any comma. See another example. Charles Dickens Oliver Twist, Oliver Twist, which was second novel of Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens is a classic. Oliver Twist, which was second novel of Charles Dickens, is a classic. So first one, this is incorrect, and second one is correct. Why? Because you can easily see that which should always be preceded by a comma. Okay, so Oliver Twist, which was second novel of Charles Dickens, there should be a comma before that. That's why it is incorrect. Oliver Twist, which was second novel of Charles Dickens, is a classic. Okay, so this is called non-restrictive clause. It's a non-restrictive clause. You can see, and this is the restrictive clause. Okay, because we are using here that you recommended last week. This is the restrictive clause. So here we got another important difference between restrictive and non-restrictive clauses, which is this one, that will always be used in the restrictive clause and which will be used in the non-restrictive clause. Another difference is that will always which will always be preceded by comma, and that will never be preceded by a comma. So that is another difference. So I hope you have understood the difference between the use of that and which, how these are used, and how these can make the sentence wrong or these can make the sentence correct. As you can see in these examples, you just have a look on these examples. Here I have told you that if you are confused about the use of that and which, you can also write the sentence without using that and which. So the lamp that Ram gave me is on the bedside table. Before that, I told you the use of that and which in the same sentence. Okay. If you are using which, it will make it non-restrictive and you have to punctuate the sentence. And if you are using that, you will not punctuate the sentence, because then that clause will become the integral part of the sentence. And if you remove that, then the meaning will change. And here in this example, you can see that this sentence is wrong. Why? Because it is preceded by a comma. And this sentence is correct because it is not using any comma. And this is an essential part. So this is a restrictive clause also. In the second example, Oliver Twist, which was second novel of Charles Dickens, is a classic. So here you can easily understand that we have to punctuate the sentence, because there is a non-restrictive clause introduced here and which should always be preceded by a comma. So I hope you have understood how to use that and which in the sentences. So with that, we have come to the end of this class, and before we finish the class, I just remind you that if you are a regular student, then you recommend the channel to your friends, and if you are a new student, then you subscribe the channel. Keep watching. Thank you.